Who is the greatest sportsman of them all? And what about this man who stayed unbeaten in an international squash for more than 5 years, during which he won more than 500 matches on the trot?
Well, I think I've been lucky in this, that I've been chosen as a player of the millennium as well, and I've been, selected in the world levels panels, among all the great players like Muhammad Ali in the boxers or tennis players or athletes. I find myself very lucky there, and I think it's all bless of Allah.
He was once touted as the fittest man on earth. He had a superhuman winning streak of 555 international matches, lasting over 5 years. He won 10 consecutive British Open titles, besides 6 World Open championships. And guess what? His father was advised to keep Jahangir away from squash, since he was a sick child who underwent 2 hernia operations before his first 10 years.
Well, I think everybody knows that the squash is a family game, and my father was world champion. My uncle, everybody played squash, and they all played really top level. So I was born in this family, and when I was growing up, so I actually had a problem with 2 physically problem, which I had 2 hernia operation, and I had a problem with listening and talking as well. So I was really weak, and I was told by doctors, and especially my father, that he won't be able to play any hard game. So forget about squash, because squash is very physically tough game. And I think I was very talented, and then I realized that if I work hard, I think I can get more, even better. And as I said, I remember I took part in the Sindh Junior Championship when I was 12, and I was just a qualifier, and I was not expecting to do really good in that tournament. And all the big boys were playing there, like 8 of 19 or 18 or 17. And somehow, I went through the qualifying round. I played the #1 seed. I beat him as well, and then lost in the semi-final. And that was really gave me. That was my. I can say gave me a lot of encouragement. And then I saw my pictures next day in the papers, like especially in Dawn newspaper, and then all the other papers. So I realized that sort of popular you can get with it. And then, as I said, then we had an option to go in the junior championship abroad, and I was the first one to go in the junior championship, and I got selected #1. And I think that was my first trip overseas. And after that, I saw all the professional players playing in it, and I think that gave me more motivation as well.
At his peak, Jahangir was regarded as the fittest man on earth, who had a Herculean fitness routine that defined new limits for human endurance.
I tell you, it was like a day and night. I was just focused on my training and sleep and rest. That's it, nothing else. And I've decided that I will try to achieve as soon as possible. And within 2 years, I achieved that goal. And I think when you become so focused and you are more ambitious, and I think it really helped you a lot. And it was kind of like a dream for me to achieve it. And I'm really grateful that I achieved that goal and that ambition. And I was just I was a professional player. And I just wanted to convert my old training, what I was doing at that time, hard work, into the matches and just perform well. I was not sure that I will win it or lose, as long as I'm satisfied that I played well in the court. And I think when I was converting all these things, day by day, week by week, and then monthly basis, and then it comes to the year, I was winning everywhere.
Jahangir's inspiration was his elder brother Tausam Khan, who besides being his sibling was a mentor for the budding Scotch champion. But Jahangir's world fell apart when Tausam died on the court during a match of the Australian Open in 1979.
Unfortunately, he died while he was playing the Australian Open, and I really got shocked at that time. I didn't know that, what's happening, and I thought that I won't be able to play anymore. And I nearly gave up. And I remember that my father, my cousin, my friend, they all told me that, look, this is part of the life. Everybody has to go, but unfortunately, this was his time. And but I remember my brother was wish that he wanted to see me the world champion, world #1. So why don't you do his, what he wanted to from you? And then I decided, okay, I will do his ambition. And I think it was kind of like a motivation from his side, because he was always in my mind. Like when I was training, I was playing, he was just telling me, and I just felt like that I have to do for him. And God knows that how much training and how much tough time I went through.
After overcoming the shock demise of his brother, Jahangir was a man possessed who wanted to become the world champion, come what may. And he fulfilled his dream when he overcame Australian legend Jeff Hunt in 4 games in the 1981 World Open final.
I can't describe it. The happiness I had was unbelievable. But the only thing I just wished at that time that he should have been around. But I think it was not only for him, but then I realized I did for the country, I did for the family, because we lost the World Championship for many years, and we were looking forward to get that title back to Pakistan. And I feel lucky there that I was the one who brought this title back to the country.
After winning the World Open, Jahangir went on to record perhaps the greatest ever winning streak in any sport, winning a staggering 555 matches from November 1981 to December 1986. His streak ended when Kiwi Ross Norman overcame the king in the final of the World Open in France.
Well, to be honest, I never thought that I'll create such a record like this, and I never planned for it. It just happened, and as I said, when I was involved...
Did you realize that?
I realize now, but I think at that time I never thought that I'll create a record like this. And I was just I was a professional player, and I just wanted to convert my old training, what I was doing at that time, hard work, into the matches, and just perform well. I was not sure that I will win it or lose, as long as I'm satisfied that I played well in the court. And I think when I was converting all these things, day by day, week by week, and then monthly basis, and then comes to the year, I was winning everywhere. And I remember when I lost for the first time, it was so much pressure on me, because everybody used to come and watch me, not that I will win the tournament or win the match. They thought maybe it will be last day of it, you will lose the match.
Another astonishing feat is his 10 consecutive British Open titles, the most prestigious squash tournament ever, also known as the Wimbledon of squash.
About British Open, I always consider is one of the tournament, like one of the best tournament. And I think every squash player who's playing in the professional circuit, or even just starting now, that his wish to win the British Open, because it's a historical tournament, and it's just like a Wimbledon of like squash. So that was my dream my dream was to win for the first time. But I never thought that I'll break the record of Jeff Hunt, which he had for 8 years. But I think I used to prepare very especially for British Open. That was my target every year. I never used to care about the French Open or Australian Open or US Open.
In 1987, another squash maestro emerged from Neway Kelay, the lanky Jahangir Khan. The two Jays enjoyed a fierce rivalry for nearly 8 years, till the time Jahangir hung his boots.
So I was already there for, I think he came in 86, 87, and I was already playing for a good 10 years. And he was young, he was motivated, he was a very good player. Physically he was strong, and he wanted to achieve what I was achieving at that time. So when you have this kind of dream and focus, I think you then have a really tough matches against that kind of player. And I really enjoyed it. We played many matches, and we had really long matches, physically tough matches. Mentally we were, tough matches as well. And I find it was, like a motivation for me to train hard, to stay up there. And I would say that he was really a good player and mentally strong, physically strong.
Jahangir was appointed president of World Squash Federation in 2002. His critics claim that the greatest player ever failed to deliver much as the president of WSF, especially Pakistan.
If you check the record, in my tenure, I brought the World Junior Championship here, which never happened before. I brought the World Team Championship. I brought the World Open here. I even brought the referee coaching conferences here. If you check it, maybe they're lying this way, but I can prove it, and I've done this even in those positions, I've done it that when nobody wanted to come here. I took the risk, I took the responsibility that I'll look after. And they came here in Islamabad and they did it. So if my tenure you're talking about, I haven't done this, I have done so much for the country. I have to do all the background, not in the front. And the simple thing, how I become the World Squash Federation president or vice president, is just simple. They asked me to come and join us, help us, and I did it. If I try to become something in Pakistan Squash Federation, forget about the president level. Vice president or other level, there'll be so many people to come and knock me down. There'll be so many politics around. So how you can work in that sort of environment? I always say, I always play like that, the clean way. I always like to work like that way. It's simple. Just want to use our shoulder. And we don't want that either. Because if you are working under the people who doesn't understand, how you can explain to him? And if they're talking about the other academy, this club belongs to Pakistan Navy, and this club run by properly the club activities, where you get the fees and everything. Academy doesn't run by without financial. You have to get support for that. How are you going to provide this racket? How are you going to provide the ball? All the other activities.
What about the academies that they have set up?
It has to be done properly from the government side. It has to be done from the federation side. They get all the fund for it. Why are not they doing according to what they should be doing it?
Pakistan's current top two players claim that they are going to be crowned world champions soon.
I think I'm the next world champion for my country, and I'm quite sure inshallah.
The 7 champions want to make it 8.
Yeah, obviously I want to make it 8 because my ambition is to become a world champion, and I'm playing squash just to become a world squash champion, and I'm doing a lot for it. I'm doing a very hard training for it.
फ्यूचर मेरा बहुत ब्राइट है क्योंकि मेरे पास स्क्वाश में टैलेंट है, स्किल है.
The only thing is that champions are not born every day. Otherwise, if it was cricket, probably the English team would have been the world champions. Probably they have never been. And the game started there, and they spread the game all over the world. So it's not like this. You do.
Yet Jahangir believes words alone won't bring the crown.
Because to become a world champion, it's not just to say it. You have to fulfill all the training programs, you have to do all the discipline live, you have to sacrifice a lot of things there. Then you can achieve that goal. And I always see and I always tell that we have good talent players, but they are not putting the way they should be putting it. They're running the affairs. I don't think so you can bring for another 10-15 years like this, unless somebody just come like we did it, myself, Jahangir, or maybe before players. But I think with the planning what I see, I don't think they can achieve the goal.
The last decade has been the worst ever for Pakistan's squash. Let us hope that the likes of Amir Atlas, Farhan Mahboob and Maria Tour draw inspiration from the superhuman efforts of Jahangir and Jahangir Khan and bring back the World and British Open titles to the land where they belong the most.